From AMF Thruway Lanes in Cheektowaga, New York, we're just outside Buffalo. ESPN presents live coverage of the Denny's PBA Tour. 6 of the world's top bowlers on center stage today, vying for top prize money. Welcome back to one of the nation's top bowling cities, Buffalo. The 19th tour event held here at historic AMF Thruway Lanes. Dave Ryan, Randy Peterson, 13-time titleist on the Denny's PBA Tour and future Hall of Famer.
Thank you, Parks.
And we go right to bowling today. Our first semifinal in the Etonic Championship. Hall of Famer Walter A. Williams Jr., the king of the sport, with 43 career titles against Mike DeVaney from Temecula, California, outside San Diego.
Good to have you back, Rhino.
Good to be back. Great start. Right in the 1-3 pocket for DeVaney.
We're going to see a lot of that today, so don't go anywhere. I talked to Walter A. Williams Jr. last night, and he told me, you know what, Randy, there's a really good chance we could see a 300 game today.
Walter A. Oh, 10 down to the pit. Great start for him as well. The legend, who may be the hottest bowler right now in the world. He is on fire with a win in Taylor, Michigan last weekend. Win number 43 in his illustrious career. And Randy, we talked to him before the telecast today. He feels he may be bowling the best he ever has. That's quite a statement from the king.
It absolutely really is coming from him.
2 perfect shots. See how far outside he is. And that's in his wheelhouse. That's Walter's game.
Absolutely. And last week we saw him leave week 10 after week 10. He still found a way to win his 43rd title. And when he talked to us last night, he was like, hey, Randy, I know I left a lot of week 10s in the first shot out of the gate. Hey, Randy, no week 10.
First time on TV this year for Mike DeVaney. Wow, and a great start for each here. We've got tremendous bowling for you folks here on ESPN today. Be sure to stay tuned the entire afternoon. First match, Walter A. Williams Jr. and Mike DeVaney. Then former roommates on tour, Mike Wolfe, Chris Barnes. The Women's Series Championship, Pluhowsky and Johnson. And for the Etonic Championship, the men's winner takes home $25,000. Women's winner takes home $10,000.
Get up there.
Little move already for Mike DeVaney coming inside on that lane. And Randy, as they start to break down, bowlers have to make adjustments.
Well, this week they didn't make as many adjustments as they normally do because of the volume of oil. 41-foot scorpion pattern. And the guys really didn't move around a lot. That's why we had such big scores.
10-pin.
What's it?
That's the week 10. 6-pin to the sidewall. DOA, we saw him leave a bunch of these. And watch the 6-pin, the second pin from your right. How it goes to the sidewall and just doesn't come off. It doesn't have enough power. There's not enough drive off of that strike ball to get that 6-pin to come off of the wall and take the 10 out.
Here's old DeVaney. And as usual, converts on the single pin spare. Leading us to the Motel 6 matchup today, the Etonic Championship from suburban Buffalo. And so far, the numbers produced by Walter A. and Mike DeVaney in their play here in Buffalo. High game of 290 for Walter A., very close to the perfect 300.
Walter A. averaged over 250 in match play.
He is going right at that pocket. Ball speed is up with Walter A. too. He's throwing it hard.
He's throwing it hard, but he has to from that angle. At 2 completely different lines. Walter A. playing way out the outside part of the lane, kind of going more right to left. Mike DeVaney, more power, higher rev rate. He's going to be further left. Although, talking with Mike, he said he's trying to go straighter and straighter like Walter A. Williams Jr.
4-pin up for Mike DeVaney, whose family had an addition. Owen Michael, born July 4th. He and his wife, first child. Patriotic baby. Can't forget that birth date, huh? Here's a look, Randy.
Just a pinch high, and Mike didn't like that shot. Got it in, didn't get it far enough to the right. And yeah, there is a lot of oil, but not enough to hold that one on line.
Oh, no.
Watch it. Missed the 4-pin. Third time this week. He has missed number 4. And an open frame from Mike DeVaney. We talked to him just a few moments ago, Randy, about how relaxed and patient he said he's been. Being a new father has really changed his approach to life. Spare comparison matchup between the two. Rebounds with a strike. Mike, over the summer and the offseason, didn't compete in as many regionals as he would have normally to spend some more time with his new son before he headed out on tour. And you can see some frustration because he knows, give an inch to Walter Ray, that could be it. And the King takes advantage.
Yeah, that's exactly why you don't miss spares against Walter Ray or give him any chance. The greatest player the sport has ever known gets up and throws a double right after the open frame by DeVaney.
Walter Ray told us his off-season activities: golfing, horseshoe pitching. Loves the horseshoes. And a lot of regionals, too, to stay sharp for moments like this, but the 8-pin stays up for Walter Ray. He liked it.
God, man.
Well, the solid 8 is really the only true tap in bowling because of the way the pins react. Watch this. This is thrown perfectly. Bowling ball goes right by the 8-pin. And if you're Mike DeVaney, that's exactly what you wanted to see happen because you know Walter Ray's not going to miss the pocket.
They're underway from Western New York, and a good start for Walter Ray Williams Jr., the Hall of Famer, the king of this sport, an 11-pin lead in the semifinals. The Etonic Championship is brought to you by Etonic, the official footwear of the PBA. Etonic, first one there. By Denny's, Denny's always works. By Motel 6, official lodging partner of the PBA. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com. Chris Barnes is coming up later on in our show today. We're here from Buffalo. He'll take on his ex-roommate. Nice little story there. Mike Wolfe and Barnes head-to-head, second semifinal. Great start. Walter Ray Williams Jr. has an 11-pin lead on Mike DeVaney early on. Welcome back to Buffalo. Dave Ryan, Randy Peterson with you. Talk about the brand new scoring process for the Chris Schenkel Player of the Year award. Things have changed in the past. It's been a membership vote with the Denny's PBA Tour, and now a bit of a difference. It's up to the players and their production to decide the award.
Absolutely. You get points based on when you make television. And at the top of the list right now is Sean Rash by virtue of winning the Masters. Walter Ray closing in on him. You know, a couple of names that I don't see on that list, and keep in mind it's still early on, but look for Tommy Jones to add his name to that list along with Norm Duke and Chris Barnes.
Doug Kent won his first Player of the Year award last year. That's the final season of the players' vote. Always interesting in the last couple of years because there's speculation. It was a wide open race really going into that Motel 6 Roll to Riches held in Columbus, Ohio last year, where Norm Duke felt if he had won that, he might have taken the award. But Doug Kent, 2 majors last year and the Roll to Riches. Clinched it. Here's DeVaney. Big hook. Nice result.
Yeah, the nice part about it is we'll be able to follow it all year, and it should end with the season finale, the World Championships. That's when the Player of the Year should be decided.
Boy, Sean Rash has been money on TV. Continue that success in Milwaukee at Miller Park a couple weeks back. Great start for him. Numbers for DeVaney coming in.
defeated Eugene McCune in the round of 8. Eugene knocked Mike DeVaney out of the show last week. So Mike with a little payback.
Comes in way high, almost goes Brooklyn, crosses the head pin, and just a 6-pin count on a bad ball from DeVaney. He knows it.
Well, this is a lane that he struggled with. Remember, he went 4-pin on this lane, and now he's left the toughest non-split on tour. Let me tell us straight on that, please. The 3, 6, 9, 10, and the reason why this is tough is because of that back pin. Although the pattern being a little bit softer this week, shouldn't be much of trouble for Mike. He'll use the big hook ball, go in here to the 3-pin, ball will drive out, take the 9, deflect into the 6-10.
Oh, chops, leaves the 6-10. Did not follow your directions, Coach Peterson, and an open frame again for DeVaney, and that could spell real disaster. Going to that 7th frame, he had actually a chance to take a lead with the turkey. But instead it's open, and whenever it happens this late in a match against someone like this, probably disastrous. 8-pin again for Walter Ray Williams Jr. Second time that's happened to him.
Well, at least I'm getting a 10 out.
No more weak 10s, right?
Well, I mean, you just don't see this. You don't see a guy leave 2 solid 8s in one game. I can't remember anyone leaving them back-to-back on television in a long time. That's how rare that is.
Let's take a look at our Lumber Liquidators Know the Wood. Lane conditions for today, 42 feet Scorpion. Usually that means high scoring.
Yeah, the Scorpion pattern's been very high scoring over the last couple of seasons, and that's because of the amount of oil that builds up in the middle part of the lane. The players get hold, and they can be nice and direct right up the pocket like that.
Wow. He is lined up, and Mike DeVaney knows it. Big strike in the 8th for Walter Ray. Now DeVaney coming off that open frame, 8th for him.
Quite honestly, this match shouldn't even be close. I mean, Walter should be shooting in the 270s right now with those 2 solid 8s. He's only in the 2 teens, but he can strike out for 247. The best Mike DeVaney can do, 229.
Just about had a 7-10, instead gets them all down. Late ball reaction, backside of the 42-foot pattern here. And that ball really jetting toward the pocket. Able to clean up all the business.
This is why you put revolutions on a bowling ball. Watch the action here. Head pin, sidewall, 7-10, see a 7, bye-bye 10. It's a strike. And right now, he can't afford anything but strikes from here on out.
There's one. We mentioned Mike is from Temecula, California, near San Diego. Luckily, his home not affected by the tragic fires that just gutted so much of Southern California. His mother, Mona, many relatives did have to evacuate. He said they all came back. Their homes were fine. Their pools were not. Looked like the Black Lagoon, he told us, but thankfully nothing too serious there. Head to the online store at PBA.com. Check out the all-new line of PBA merchandise. With the holiday season fast approaching, PBA items make a great gift for the bowling fan on your shopping list. All 10 down for Walter Ray. And yes, Randy, you're on my list. You and the whole family, as usual. So we'll go to PBA.com together and we can exchange gifts, right?
Thanks, Pards. Well, Walter Ray finally gets a solid 8 out, and that's good news for him. That puts him in the 220s. The Ebonite Digitrax system is telling me that Walter Ray is playing the 2 board at about 19 miles an hour. Mike DeVaney is about 18 miles an hour. The 16th board at the Arrows. Completely different lines.
Another perfect shot for old Deadeye, and there's a good example of how far outside he is.
And that locks up the match as long as he keeps it on the lane. Remember, Ebonite Digitrax is a digital analysis system that gives accurate data of ball motion on the lane. We have it each and every week out here.
Love that. Brand new feature to the Tennis PBA Tour broadcast on ESPN. Fascinating. You get all the data.
Beautiful. He's in the 240s. And Dave, you spoke earlier about adjustments that the players make on the lanes. And you're right. You know, last week, the Digitrax told us that Walter Ray was throwing at about 17 miles an hour, right around the second arrow. This week, he's an arrow right, a little bit further right than that, picks his ball speed up, which just goes to show you, you have to be versatile. Walter Ray is one of the best at being versatile. That's all she wrote.
He has wrapped up the semifinal match, and for a second straight week, he'll bowl for the title he won last week. And Taylor, 48 years old and the king of the sport again, 6-time Player of the Year. Walter Ray Williams Jr., who told us before the matches today, he's still as hungry as ever. Loves to compete.
Just a couple of bad shots for Mike DeVaney. It was his undoing. He missed the spare in the 4th frame and then missed another spare in the 7th, 3, 6, 9, 10. 2 spares there, and he strikes out. He shoots 250. So it came down to spare shooting. Quite honestly, the guys didn't shoot a lot of spares this week.
It's the second ever meeting between these two on TV. The only prior back in 2001, where Walter Ray beat Mike DeVaney 223-189 at the U.S. Open in Fountain Valley, California. That was Mike's first ever TV show. And he told us today he was so nervous he could barely stand up and breathe, much less throw the ball down the lane, because he's from nearby San Diego. All family and friends were there watching. And he'll drop to 0-2 against the King after this one today.
All right, man. Do it again. One more time.
Convincing win for Walter Ray. Here's our CLR clean sweep. And Walter Ray, when it comes down to the money shots, Randy always takes care of business.
Well, he knew what he needed to do was strike in the 9th frame to set up the 10th, and he knew he wouldn't be shut out. He gets up and throws the last 5 in a row.
Walter Ray will bowl for the title against either Chris Barnes or Mike Wolfe. That's coming up. Much more bowling from Buffalo. Stay tuned. Chris Barnes has plenty of fans here in Buffalo. They're ready to see Denny's PBA Tour superstar take on Mike Wolfe on the road, Denny's PBA Tour style. Next week, we're in Maribel, Indiana. That's in Chicagoland. Who could forget last year, Norm Duke, 14-0 record in match play, knocked off Mika Koivuniemi for the championship, won his 24th title last year. Then Vernon Hills, Illinois, just outside Chicago as well. CLR Windy City Classic, Thanksgiving weekend. 1 o'clock Eastern time here on ESPN. Wolfe Barnes head to head. Five goes down, 7 does not for Chris Barnes, one of the master technicians on the Denny's PBA Tour.
And when you talk to the players about Chris and what makes him so good, and I think the general consensus is that he's just one of the smartest players out here.
From quite a bowling family, wife Linda, star bowler in her own right. There goes the 7 pin. She just is returning from St. Petersburg, Russia, having competed in the World Cup. She was gone for about 10 days to have 5-year-old twins back home. Here's Mike Wolfe, just outside Louisville, Kentucky, right across the river. New Albany, Indiana. On a hook. Watch out. 7-10.
Oh, luck hasn't changed from Japan.
Not the way you want to start off if you're Mike Wolfe, huh?
No. Pocket 7-10 here. This ball's right of target. At that angle with that speed and revolutions. How about it? How about it?
Boy, kick out of the back of the pit. Didn't quite take care of it. We're still waiting
Only 3
for
have made
someone.
it. Only 3 have made it.
Other than Jess Stayrook in 1991. Last one to do it. Tucson, Arizona.
Only 3 times ever.
Only 3 times. On TV, the 7-10 has been converted. We'll have to wait a little bit longer. Open frame. Boy, it's such a tough way to start if you're Mike Wolfe. And we talked to Mike before the show today. Seems so relaxed, very confident. After a great appearance at the Japan Cup, you heard him mention that a moment ago. All 10 down for him. Finished second to Mika Koivuniemi in Tokyo. And Mike said, boy, so disappointing after a great run, because that's a long way to go. And as you know, Randy, from being in Japan, covering it, competing in it, hard to win that event.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? It was a great start for the season for him, finishing second, going all that way. He didn't really expect a whole lot. Found himself in the middle of a title match in Tokyo.
Back to Barnes. All 10 down, Chris Barnes. Different looks, different lanes here on TV. Leading us to the Moto 6 Etonic Championship matchup in our second semifinal. Winner takes on Wolfe Williams Jr. in the title match. And so far, I see the match play record's pretty close. Wolfe, one of the 300 games here. Completed in Buffalo on this high-scoring pattern. He won't get it here, though, after the early open.
Oh! And Dave, you see Chris Barnes playing the lane similar to what Walter Ray was doing. He's a little bit further left at the target, or at the arrows, I should say, but look at that end-over-end roll and kind of the same path to the pocket. The reason why, he says, Randy, I'm going to manage the front part of the lane. I'm going to use really weak layouts in my equipment, and that's going to enable me to go straighter.
Paralyzing 5. You saw it. You saw it go down. Better shot from Wolfe. Looked like it was a touch high out of his hand. Mike Wolfe's run to the TV show. Chris Loschetter went down. Round of 8. Great match here. Thruway Lanes in Buffalo in 7.
Unbelievable match. Loschetter bowls 300 in that match. It goes to game 7. Wolfe is down 0-3. He takes it to game 7, and Wolfe saves his best for last. He bowls 300 in the deciding game.
Go, go, go.
Off the mark. 2-pin.
A little firm on this shot here, and the ball just never has a chance to get back to the pocket. Comes in light, only leaving the 2-pin. Digitrax is telling me that Barnes and Wolfe, their ball speed is identical, 19 miles an hour. That seems to be the theme. Walter Ray speed, 19 miles an hour, but their break points down the lane completely different. Barnesy is at first arrow, the 5th board. Mike Wolfe, the 8th board. At the arrows, Barnes is at the 7th board. Mike Wolfe, 3rd arrow.
How did Chris Barnes get here? Mike Machuga went down round of 8. That also in 7 games. And Mike Edwards helping us out with stats today. Took Barnes to 7 as well, round of 32. Perfect shot, Chris Barnes, originally from Topeka, Kansas, was a great high school basketball player and a bowler too. Into that tremendous program, Wichita State. Bowled collegiately there. And on to the Denny's PBA Tour eventually after a great run with Team USA. Plenty of international competition.
1-3 is a little wide.
Roll the lanes with ESPN Sunday as our bowling coverage continues. The 07 Lake County Indiana Classic from Hammond. I told you last week that last year it was a big, that's from Maryville, Indiana, excuse me. Last year it was Norm Duke with his tremendous 14-0 match play record. 3-pin victory over Mika Koivuniemi.
Dave, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get Chris some coffee to go with that sweet roll.
He is looking good. Chris, interesting comment to us that he said, boy, I'm bowling so well in the top 5 in average right now in the Denny's PBA Tour, but it's like being one of the other tennis players chasing Roger Federer or one of the other golfers chasing Tiger Woods because Walter Ray is that good, that dominant right now. Chris Barnes would love to face him in the final. Great rebound shot from Mike Wolfe.
And I know we're only in the 5th frame, but right now Mike Wolfe has to be thinking, if I don't strike and another shot, this match is over. He's thinking right now he's got to take it all the way to the 10th frame to have a chance in this match.
Flomax weekly update for Wolfe. 54th last week, suburban Detroit. Here we're just outside Buffalo. And Mike trying to regain the form that brought him all the way to the finals. The Japan Cup, he hasn't won since a victory in Albany, New York, 2 years ago. 60 feet to success.
I was waiting
there
for
it
that.
is for Mike Wolfe. That's a perfect shot in the 1-3 pocket. A double for him, 5th and 6th, but a 4-bagger for Barnes. That's why he's got a convincing lead right now of 22 pins on his former roommate. Looking to face Walter Ray in the final. There's a look at David Ozio, Etonic general manager, bowling division, also a PBA Hall of Famer. His great career, won 11 titles on the Denny's PBA Tour. One of the great personalities of the sport. Second semifinal. Chris Barnes a lead on Mike Wolfe by 22 pins. And he works on a strike. Chance to expand the lead to 32 with a 5-bagger here. Touch high. 4-pin stance.
That's a good number there.
He didn't like it. Randy on the release.
I think he likes the fact that he only left the 4-pin there.
Great look from our crew. 4 pins still up for Chris. And we talked about the fact these two are former roommates. In the middle of last season that ended. Now, Randy, you guys are so close on tour. A lot of bowlers will room with each other, change roommates. What's it like to face an ex-roommate after knowing pretty much everything about your buddy for a while there?
Well, it depends on how the breakup went. I mean, if it was something that was kind of agreed upon between both guys, a lot of times you just get sick of one another. You say, hey, man, I need a break. It just depends on how they went their separate ways. I think they're still somewhat friendly.
Yes.
But it can be awkward and uncomfortable.
It can also spark a rivalry, and Chris Barnes gets pumped up with another perfect shot in the 7th for him. Turkey opportunity here for Wolfe in his 7th frame. Perfect shot, Mike Wolfe.
Let's take a look at the Etonic edge with Mike Wolfe. Watch this footwork. The second step goes left, which opens his body and his hips up to give his swing plenty of room at the bottom. And Mike Wolfe's worked really hard. When he first came out on tour, all he did was hook it. Now he can go straight as well. And the late, great Don Johnson, 26-time titleist and Hall of Famer, when he first watched this young man bowl, was so impressed, he modeled a lot of his teachings after what this guy does with his footwork.
On cue, Mike Wolfe. After what we saw the Etonic edge, what a response. And the footwork looks perfect. So Wolfe gets hot. 4-bagger for him, leading into the foundation frame for Mike Wolfe. Now it's Barnes' 8th frame. Looking for 7 years in a row with a championship. Hall of Fame level skills. No question about that. Perfect shot.
And Chris Barnes controls his own destiny, because if he strikes out in the 9th and 10th, he'll be in the 260s. There's nothing Mike Wolfe can do about that, because the best Mike Wolfe can do is 258. But this is the big shot of the match right here. This sets up the 10th frame.
2-time winner of a major. 62nd U.S. Open, 06 TOC, Tournament of Champions in Connecticut near Hartford. Last year won just outside of Dallas. Big shot. Oh, wow.
God.
ringing 10.
Wow, it's a really, really good shot. Great quality shot there. Unfortunately, now Mike Wolfe can step up and take this match away from Chris Barnes.
There's the 10. And a look of disappointment from Chris Barnes because he knows the door is open.
Well, Chris Barnes can strike out in the 10th frame and shoot 248. I already told you Mike Wolfe can shoot 258, but he can't shoot 258 unless he strikes on this ball.
Looks for the 5-bagger. This is the shot he needs. He can tie the match.
Come on, go, go.
Which he does.
The cyborg steps up and makes a big shot. The 6 goes to the sidewall, cuts the 10 out. 2 strikes here in the 10th frame and good count, and he will face Walter Ray for the title.
Wolfe has taken on Walter Ray twice on TV. He's 1-1. Beat him at the 04 Medford Classic semifinal the last time they met. One of the few bowlers who's done well against Walter Ray on TV. It's hard to beat him.
I'll get lucky.
Looking for a late hit on the 10-pin cross the deck with the messenger. Almost got it. And you heard his words, Randy. Get lucky.
He needed that hit. Right now with a spare here, he's going to be in the 230s. Watch this. The head pin gets hit so hard it doesn't know what to do. It actually clips the 4-pin and gets in front of it. A spare here and a strike. Mike Wolfe will shoot 237. Chris Barnes will need the first strike in the 10th frame to win. We have a possibility of a tie, Dave Ryan.
Nothing more exciting than a roll-off on the Denny's PBA Tour. That is fun to watch. Wolfe a 2-1 record, career roll-offs, a 1-ball sudden death format. Chris Barnes is 3-3 in that scenario, and it could happen.
Well, that was big because now he's down 2 pins and count. Chris Barnes can go 9 spare strike and win by 1. A strike here, and he'll just need 9 and 2 balls to fill the 10th frame, and he'll win. 9 spare 9. We have a tie ball game.
Tough there for Mike Wolfe. Didn't get the ball reaction he wanted. Tail end of this 42-foot pattern. And you saw the pin sort of melt there. Didn't really crash through the 1-3 pocket the way he wanted. Left the 10 pin. 236 for him. Barnes cannot respond. 7-pin count.
Mike Wolfe wins.
Wow.
I'm in shock. I mean, Chris Barnes has not missed the pocket, and there was no way he was going to go light. Just another mental breakdown on television for Chris Barnes. I mean, right as he lets go of this, I'm looking at his balance. He looks perfect, and this ball just never thinks about hooking.
Left the 2-4-5, and that's the reaction for Chris Barnes.
The last shot, the first shot in the 10th was a little bit further right than that there. And maybe that's why it didn't hook up. Maybe it was a pinch faster. In any event, I'm still shocked. There was no way he was going to miss the pocket.
Barnes falls to Wolfe. Mike Wolfe, Walter Ray Williams Jr. in the final here from Buffalo. We've got women's bowling as well. Plenty of action from just outside Buffalo, New York. The Etonic Championship is brought to you by Etonic, the official footwear of the PBA. Etonic, first one there. By Prescription Flomax. By CLR. CLR, all kinds of dirty, one kind of clean. And by the United States Bowling Congress, ensuring the integrity and protecting the future of the sport of bowling. Bowl with us. Welcome back to Cheektowaga, New York, just outside Buffalo. 19th tour event held at this historic bowling center. First hosted the 1974 whole box office open, won by future Hall of Famer Dave Sutar. Here it's the Etonic Championship Women's Series Championship match. Tish Johnson will lead things off. Second of 4 PBA Women's Series events, a new special mini tour presented by the United States Bowling Congress.
Come on!
Lefty against lefty. 9-pin for Tish Johnson.
What's
Hey, that
going
was
on?
close. Come on.
What's going on? Walter A, 2 solid 8s. Tish
I
Johnson
didn't hit
gets
the
up,
pocket.
leaves a solid 9. You're looking at one of the greatest bowlers in the history of the ladies tour. Tish Johnson, 25 titles. Actually bowled with her in league back in California when I was a kid, 16 years old.
Is that right? There's the 9. Member of both the USBC and Professional Women's Bowling Halls of Fame.
I'm going to blame Walter Ray for
Twice. Named Player of the Year. And talking about Walter Ray's issues with a 10-pin. Against Shannon Pluhowsky from Phoenix. Great collegiate bowler at Nebraska, where she was part of 3 national championship teams.
Watch this form.
7-pin for her. A real thrill. Talking to both bowlers, Randy, before the show today. Chance for Shannon to take on Tish on TV, a bowler she watched growing up as one of her heroes.
Well, and it's interesting because the only lefties we have on the telecast today are both ladies.
Two of the 3 lefties on the PBA Women's Series. There's the 7-pin. The other is Tiffany Stambro. Shannon telling us also today, Randy, about her vast international experience with Team USA. You see the 3 championships we talked about for the Huskers in Lincoln. And she said traveling all over the world. What an experience for her to see different cultures, learn so much about different places, and face pressure bowling like she is today. She feels like she's well seasoned despite the fact she's so young.
Well, that's the thing about collegiate bowling and bowling for Team USA. You get a lot of experience, a lot of international experience, but this gal right here has got all the experience in the world. She's been on live television many, many times. Today, Shannon, first time for her.
Come on.
Crunch. 10 down to the pit. Right in the 1-2 pocket. And Tish Johnson getting pumped up here, originally from Napa Valley area, Northern California. So the matchup between the two and how they got this far. Match play record, each with 8 wins. Neither a 300 game from the left side on this high scoring pattern. That's what Tish told us today, Randy, before the show.
Come on!
Messenger does not take care of the 7-pin. The adjustment to bowling on the Denny's PBA Tour oil patterns for her really changed her game.
Well, the oil patterns and figuring out how to play the oil patterns is everything. You got to learn about ball surfaces and layouts, and just everything changes when you get out on these patterns. You better figure it out in a hurry. These ladies only have 4 weeks. But if you join a PBA Experience League, you bowl at PBA Experience Leagues throughout the country, now you can experience exactly what our guys are going through. You kind of get a little jump start on the type of equipment you need, how to play the lanes differently, a lot of different looks and different ways to get to the pocket.
All 10 down for Shannon Pluhowsky. Yeah, that's something both bowlers, Randy, we spoke to them this morning about learning how to play on the Denny's PBA Tour oil pattern. See the numbers for Shannon, qualifying 6th. This is the women's final, part of the women's series, presented by the USBC. $10,000 to the winner here in Buffalo. Finding lanes in their areas where they could bowl on the legitimate Denny's PBA Tour patterns. Not easy for them. Now the experience is out there. They've got more of an opportunity.
Well, they didn't have much of an opportunity last week because, quite honestly, the left-handers were shut out, whether they were male or female. But this week, Shannon, you know, her key says, she says, well, it's all about surface. I've got to have more surface on my equipment. And so she's coming out with a lot of surface. She's learned a lot in a very short period of time.
Tish, one of the legends of the now defunct PWBA. Professional Women's Bowling Association that folded in 2003, and she knew the exact day, July 13th, the exact time she heard the call. She said it was the most gut-wrenching, heartbreaking experience she'd ever been through. It was always her dream to be a pro bowler. She lived it every day, and all of a sudden she had no tour.
Dave, she missed one tournament in 25 years on that tour.
Nice roll from the left side. Tish Johnson, she told us this morning when she heard the news about the tour folding, really for about a year and a half, didn't do anything. I mean, she would just sleep in every day, played a lot of golf. She lived for a while in Colorado Springs, Colorado, moved to Vegas. She took a job with an airline, loading some baggage just to be busy, keep herself occupied. And then she heard about the Women's Series. Quit her job. And here she is taking on Shannon Pluhowsky, who's off the mark there in the 1-2 pocket.
She quit her job because they wouldn't give her time off to bowl this. And you know what? I'll never fly that airlines, ever. Shannon working on a three-bagger, comes up a bit light, but gets lucky to only leave the 5-9, kicking out half of the bucket.
Knocks down those two for her spare. This is her first career Women's Series championship round appearance. But 2 summers ago, as we see the numbers really getting going in match play, Shannon took the biggest women's event in bowling, the 06 USBC Queens. So whenever Liz Johnson, who's from here in Buffalo. All 10 down again for Shannon. She won that one 228-210. She'd love to win this today. She's got a 2-pin lead right now on Tish Johnson, one of the legends of women's bowling. We'll wrap up this championship round when we return and crown a winner from Buffalo. Oh, you just know we're in Bill's territory. They take on the Dolphins. Cam Cameron's team 0-8.
Look out, they're red hot. They're red hot.
Monday Night Football on ESPN, Niners Seahawks. 8:30 Eastern time. Coverage begins 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown. Matt Hasselbeck and Sean Alexander of Seattle. Alex Smith, exciting young quarterback of the Niners. And running back Frank Gore. That's coming your way tomorrow night here on ESPN.
Frank Gore injured.
He's fun to watch.
Yes.
When he's healthy. Back to Tish Johnson. Gets a nice break. All 10 down for her.
Evan, I Digitrax numbers, excuse me. Shannon Pluhowsky, ball speed's 18 miles an hour. Tish Johnson, 16. Softer ball speed, softer hand, using a more aggressive bowling ball. They're both playing about the 5th board. First arrow. Wow.
There's the 7.
Yeah, you don't think Tish wanted that one, do you? Pretty good shot here. Anytime you see the 4-pin go around the 7 like that, that's always pretty good indication that the ball is hitting well. May have been just a tick fast. Just notice how solid she is at the foul line. I mean, years and years and years of bowling and practice. Her form, her style has not changed. Just brilliant when she gets to the foul line. How solid. No moving parts, able to keep her eyes on her target.
She told us today the highlight of her bowling career, early 90s, winning the Women's U.S. Open. For Shannon, now down a pin. 7th frame.
Carry.
Got the carry she wanted.
That takes the lead.
Winning the USBC Queens. Shannon said certainly the highlight of her career to this point. A triumph over Liz Johnson in the finals. Liz actually grew up bowling in this very center in Buffalo.
And interesting that Shannon is using 2 different bowling balls. The bowling ball she's using on the right lane is a little bit shinier, flips a little bit harder down the lane. The ball she's using on the left lane, a little more rolly, a little more surface on that.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Just clips the side of the 7. You never like to hear that uh-oh.
Yeah, usually uh-oh is a bad sign.
Upon the release, we did see a couple open frames in the first matchup today with Mike DeVaney, Walter Williams Jr. Our men's final is coming up. Mike Wolfe knocked off Chris Barnes. DeVaney fell to Walter Williams Jr. And first, we crown a champion here. PBA Women's Series. Second of 4 events. Tish Johnson, yeah. All 10 down, the special mini tour presented by the USBC.
1996, Tish Johnson won a Megabuck tournament for $100,000, beat all the guys, and one of the guys that she went through, Robert Smith. Pretty impressive stuff.
I'll say, able to take down one of the top bowlers on the Denny's PBA Tour, and look at some of the numbers. 25 championships, and that 92 U.S. Open we talked about, she mentioned the highlight of her career. Unforgettable moment.
Oh, my.
8-pin. Tough for Tish. She liked it a lot.
Well, if she would have strike there and strike out in the 10th frame, she would have shut out Shannon Pluhowsky. Well, now she gives Shannon a shot to get back in it. Shannon can strike out and shoot 247. The spare here, Tish can only get to 229. Shannon's already in the 220. She just needs a double.
Always interested, Randy, over the years covering the Denny's PBA Tour on the men's side when you have younger bowlers facing legends. In this case, Shannon Pluhowsky trying to put away Tish Johnson, 25-time titleist. What's going through the youngster's mind here? Good-looking shot. All 10 down to the pit. So Shannon Pluhowsky, you've been in that situation, facing some legends, and as an older bowler yourself, young bucks trying to take you down.
What do you mean older bowler, Dave? What do you mean by that?
Tail end of your fabulous career. Future Hall of Famer, you.
Well, you know what? I've said it before. It's all in how you process what's in front of you. You know, it shouldn't matter who you're bowling against because the job is still the same.
Nearly had a 7-10. 10-pin stands for. That's the good news.
The bad news is that Tish Johnson can strike out and win. Spare here, she'll be in the 220s. Spare strike, it's 227. Tish Johnson, 2 strikes and 9, 228.
Does convert. Big single pin spare there for Shannon. So interesting to watch the ebb and flow, the emotions. Tish on TV for the first time in this brand new women's series on the Denny's PBA Tour. But certainly has faced pressure throughout her great career so many times. Amazing to think a year and a half away from bowling entirely. She was so down and out about the end of the women's tour.
Well, you
Perfect ball reaction there for Shannon.
Excuse me, Dave. You can tell Shannon's an athlete just by watching her bowl. But here's the deal. Tish Johnson needs 2 strikes and 9. And keep in mind, she has not missed on this right lane. She's perfect.
Is it on first cycle or just throw it and pray?
She asked him about a re-rack?
Something with the machine being on the first or second cycle. No one seems to be sure. If she were to leave a pin standing and it's on the second cycle, then the machine would sweep it off. So she just wants to make sure that it's on the first cycle.
Come on!
Off the mark, 1-2 pocket. Leaves the 6-10 when she needed a strike. And it's over.
Well, she yelled, come on, when she let it go. And normally when you do that, you like it. And that ball just hooked up too hard. Shannon Pluhowsky is going to win. But a nice week. And I know Tish was thrilled to death about being back on television for the first time in a long time.
A lefty from Phoenix going to take home the title and $10,000.
There it is.
Exactly right, Tish. Came one frame too late, though. And Shannon Pluhowsky from Phoenix. Former star at Nebraska, won 3 titles. Greatness as well for Team USA. Wins the PBA Women's Series Championship here in Buffalo. And with it, $10,000. Congratulations to Shannon. A great week as well for Tish Johnson. The men's final comes your way next. Welcome back. AMF Thruway Lanes, Cheektowaga, New York, just outside Buffalo. Dave Ryan in for Rob Stone this week, along with Randy Peterson. We wish Rob and his wife the best. They are expecting twins any moment now, correct?
Yes, and Rob said he's going to name the twins, one boy, one girl. He's going to name them after the winners of this event.
There's Mike Herner, AMF District Manager. And the proprietor here. Special thanks to Mike and his great staff. Lake County Indiana Classic coming up next Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Just outside Chicago, that's where we're headed. Randy, let's get into the Geico Championship recap, my friend.
You know, I was just kidding about Rob naming his kids after.
I'm glad.
Here's Walter Ray Williams Jr. taking advantage of 2 open frames by Mike DeVaney. He beats Mike by the score of 247-226. Then in semifinal number 2, Chris Barnes has a shot of taking home this match, and instead it's a 2-4-5. He loses by a stick to ex-roommate Mike Wolfe.
The Geico Championship recap. Leading us to the final. Walter Ray Williams Jr., the king of our sport, 43 titles, the all-time leader in that category. Mike Wolfe wants to go for the upset. We'll see what unfolds from Buffalo next. A year ago here at this very bowling center in Buffalo, Pete Weber, the defending champ. And after beating local favorite Doug Kent from Newark, New York, near Rochester, which is about 50 miles or so from where we are here. PDW won it, 247-196. Kent looking to win his 2nd straight title in this bowl. But Pete, the Hall of Famer, won it a year ago. Who wins it this year, Walter Ray or Mike Wolfe? Walter Ray won last week in suburban Detroit. Perfect start. Championship match. Mike Wolfe.
Getting back to Pete Weber. Apparently, he's got a bit of a problem with Walter Ray Williams Jr., or at least trying to beat him. Because
at least on the lanes, yeah.
Walter's been beating him like a rented mule over the last 7 times in a row in single elimination match play, and the last 3 weeks in a row.
That's his number for now. Old Deadeye, great start on that lane. Leading us to the Motel 6 matchup. In the championship, how do you see it, Randy? Wolfe, Walter Ray.
So I'm going to try it with you this week. On paper, it looks like the only chance Mike Wolfe has is if he gives Walter Ray a code red.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
I knew you saw that movie, but
I've got a base to run.
Bang, 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 bang. That's all he does.
He is lined up, dialed in, whatever you want to say about Walter Ray. We talked to him today before the show about being in the zone. I said, well, you play a lot of sports, a horseshoe champion, world championship level in that sport. He's a very good golfer, too. At one point, had his handicap index down to a 0.5.
Yes.
He said, I'm feeling as good as I ever have on the lanes right now. So Wolfe's got his hands full. Shots like that, he'll stay in the championship match.
Mike Wolfe has to bowl a perfect game, and I don't mean perfect 300 game. He's just got to bowl a perfect game and hope for Walter Ray to have some carry issues. Because, in my opinion, the only thing that's going to beat Walter Ray is bad pin carry.
Mike tells us busy off-season, bowled in 8 regionals, 1-2, 1 in Huntington, West Virginia, 1 in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
After finishing 2nd in Japan, he went to the Panama Invitational and won that. 20 touring guys there. I think Mike Wolfe's throwing it as good as he's ever thrown it.
Oh, field.
Good looking shot, 10-pin stance. And Randy told us before the show today it has to do with his equipment. Feels really confident about the bowling ball he's throwing right now.
Well, he's not limited to one manufacturer, so he's using a lot of different equipment, which gives him a lot of different looks, so he doesn't feel like he's shut out from week to week based on oil patterns. Feels like he can get a ball to match up to any oil pattern.
As Mike pointed out to us today, it is about technology now in the sport. You really have to stay up with the ball manufacturers, the ball reps, and make sure your layout matches the patterns. You have to be versatile, and this guy's the king of versatility. We've seen one approach and one only today, though. He's been outside, going right at it. Shrapnel everywhere. Messenger does not nudge the 10. And old Deadeye, known by that nickname, of course, because of his great success in horseshoe pitching.
And the one thing that Walter Ray won't do is make a mental error. He's going to keep the ball right at the 1-3 pocket. And again, it's just going to come down to carry.
There's the 10-pin, single pin conversion for the Hall of Famer. Looking for title number 44 and more legendary company. Look at those names. Just last year surpassing Earl Anthony's title record. Getting his 42nd at the Japan Cup. Dick Weber, Mark Roth. Wow. Talk about legends of the game. Looking for back-to-back titles, and Walter Ray is certainly locked in. Mike Wolfe's had a good start, too. We are all tied. Championship match from Buffalo. Exciting conclusion comes your way next. Put down that remote control. The Etonic Championship is brought to you by Etonic, the official footwear of the PBA. Etonic, first one there. By Bear, the more you know, the more you trust Bear. By Lumber Liquidators, hardwood flooring for less. And by Denny's. Denny's always works. Get ready, exciting conclusion here from Buffalo. Mike Wolfe head-to-head with the legend, Walter A. Williams Jr. Let's check in with the CLR clean sweep. And ready to go back to the women's series event. Shannon, Pluhowsky, getting the job done.
She sure did. She put the pressure on Tish Johnson. Tish had a chance in the 10th frame, didn't come through.
Now Shannon's third shot in the 10th to wrap it up. She takes home the $10,000 prize. Congratulations to her. Beating a legend of the game, women's side. Now Mike Wolfe, same opportunity against the Hall of Famer Walter Williams Jr. All 10 down to the pit for Wolfe.
We're all tied up after 4.
Mike very excited about a home he built on a lake in hometown of New Albany, Indiana, outside Louisville, Kentucky. Gonna try to flip it now, looking to sell it. 5 bedrooms, 4,200 square feet. His pride and joy. But he's moving on.
I'd wait. The market's down now.
Great shot, maybe like 25,000. More to put to a new home if he can win here and take the first place prize over Walter Ray. Runner-up gets 13,000 today on the men's side.
Walter Ray and Mike Wolfe playing 2 completely different lines. Walter Ray still around the 4th board or right next to the 1st arrow. Mike Wolfe 15th board or the 3rd arrow. Walter Ray's really bringing it now. Ball speed 19.7, almost 20 miles an hour.
Love those stats. Real-time updated numbers. And the numbers too. 60 feet there to success again for Walter Ray. All 10 down. He is again locked in. Looks here for the turkey, 6th frame. Wolfe working on 2 strikes himself, heading into his 6th, which comes up next. Exciting finish here. It's going to be close. Get up! Get up!
Dang it.
Trying to urge that ball on to the pocket perfectly for him. 10 pin for Walter Ray. Single pin conversion coming up, which has been basically automatic throughout his career.
And this one just never hooked up to the pocket, leaving that week 10. Looked to be a pinch fast, which means he could have missed it a little bit at the bottom of the swing, missed the release point just a little bit.
Walter told us before the match today, just had the goal of being in the top 20 on the Denny's PBA Tour when the season ended. Well, he was right there now in the lead after his win in the semifinals over Mike DeVaney in terms of the Chris Schenkel Player of the Year award. Brand new scoring system we mentioned.
Yeah, you can throw all that out the window now because he's at the top of the list. 3 shows in a row.
Top 20. How about number
20.
1?
Yeah.
Again. Back to Wolfe. Looks for the turkey. Has it.
As good as I've seen him throw it, you know, when he first came out on tour, Mike Wolfe, all he did was hook it. And then he went through a couple of years of throwing it really, really straight. And now he's kind of right in between the two. He still has his hook game. He can still go straight, but he's become a complete all-around player out here.
And that's what he told us today, Randy's been a big difference with that great run in Tokyo. He gave Mika Koivuniemi all he could handle in the championship in Japan.
Go, go.
It does go. Another great shot for Wolfe, and Randy, it is, as we mentioned, about versatility at this level. The best bowlers in the world have to be able to change styles, adjust to different patterns.
Have to be able to play the lanes a lot of different ways. Ball speed, rotation, angles.
Walter was distracted there. Just the slightest movement, the sound around these bowlers, that could be enough to throw them off. Eight pin.
The third one he's left today.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen it, ever.
And the door opens a little wider for Mike Wolfe.
Well, I said it at the start of the match. What's going to get Walter Ray is going to be pin carry because he's not going to miss the pocket. And so far, he's got 7 shots right in the 1-3. He's got 4 strikes, 2 flat 10s, and a solid 8. And right now, if he strikes out, the best he can shoot is 247. Mike Wolfe is going at a 279 clip.
Four pin this time.
Can't move.
Solid 8 followed by a shot that went high, and I think right now that spot where Walter Ray is playing is going through transition. It's drying up a little bit in front of him on that left lane. And this is a bad time for it to happen.
Sure is this late in the match, and man, is that door gaping open now for Mike Wolfe, who already has a big lead and a major opportunity here. Looks for the 5-bagger, chance for 33 pin advantage and an opportunity to KO Walter Ray right here. Good looking shot, 4-pin stands. He's confused.
Terrible.
Just a pinch soft on that shot caused the ball to hook up high. At least he didn't leave the 4-9 like we saw Jeff Lizzie leave last week. A spare here, he's still going to be in the 230s. And right now, Mike Wolfe wants to show everybody his maple moxie. He says, you know what, if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And I want to bowl Walter Ray for the title and prove to myself that I can compete out here with the best on the Denny's PBA Tour. Right now, he has an opportunity to step up in the 9th and 10th frame and beat Walter Ray.
Last win we saw there for Mike Wolfe against Chris Collins, Albany, New York area. He's won 2 titles. Walter Ray has 43. That's a perfect shot. Great adjustment on that lane. And he blasts 10 down into the pit.
spare strike from Mike Wolfe. He'll shoot 238. Walter Ray can strike out 9th and 10th for 236. Let's see if Walter Ray can get the solid 8-pin out on this right lane.
Gotta have it here. He responds.
All 3 in the 10th. Put some pressure on Mike Wolfe. We've seen crazier things happen. Remember the last time on the right lane from Mike Wolfe, he went high and left a 4-pin. All that plays on your mind. You get up in the 10th frame knowing you need a hit. Well, I left a 4-pin last time. What do I do? Do I make an adjustment? Do I get a little firm? Do I move left with my feet? Do I try to open it up more? Remember last week when he threw 3 in the 10th against Jeff Lizzie to force Jeff to throw the first strike in the 10th frame. Jeff didn't get it done, made a great shot. And Walter Ray advanced to the title match. He's pretty good about finishing games when he needs to put some pressure on an opponent.
He's the hottest bowler in the world right now. 3rd straight TV appearance for him. He's done that 18 times in his incredible career. 3 in a row. Looking for the same thing here. 10th. Oh, there's the 4.
Wow.
And the pressure eases a bit on Mike Wolfe for his forthcoming 10th frame.
Yeah, Mike Wolfe needs 9 and 2 balls. He's going to win his 3rd title. Walter Ray lost bar reaction, lost some carry, a couple of high shots. Mike Wolfe has been all but perfect. 9 pins to win.
It's a winner!
Yeah!
For the 3rd time in his career.
Get my ball back.
And first time since
I want my ball back.
2005. Mike Wolfe, champion on the Denny's PBA Tour. All he did was take down the top player in the world.
Pounds.
And the hottest player in the world, the all-time title king.
Boy, you could see this coming. If you were at Japan and watched the Japan Cup, you could really see this coming.
You know, we spoke with Mike before this championship round. Randy seems so relaxed, at ease with himself, his game. Just keep this one on the lane. Uses the spare ball, the plastic ball, and that'll do it. He is a champion in Buffalo. Mike Wolfe, 3rd title in his career. He wins at 256, 225 over Walter Ray Williams Jr. A happy Mike Wolfe in Buffalo. Be sure to join us next week, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Lake County, Indiana Classic, Chicagoland. That event presented by the United Way. Look forward to seeing if Norm Duke can defend his title from a year ago in Indiana. Let's go to Randy with a happy winner.
Thanks, Dave. Mike Wolfe, your 3rd career title. What was your mindset like going up against the greatest the game has ever seen?
You better have 8 strikes, and hopefully they're in a row at some point in time. He's on an unbelievable run that I was flipping through his media guide earlier, and I forgot about the first show that he made at the Masters. It's just an unbelievable run, back-to-back shows and a chance for back-to-back titles. Words can't explain it.
Well, Mike, you know, we talk about it a lot. In order to be the best, you have to beat the best. Are you starting to now believe in your own ability out here?
I'm starting to believe in some of my luck. I guess that's probably a little more humble, I guess. But it's some of the practice and all the hard work. It's starting to pay off.
Congratulations, Mike. Dave?
All right, Randy, Mike, thank you. 256, 225. Mike Wolfe from New Albany, Indiana, takes home his 3rd career title and 1st since 2005. And he told you how relaxed, confident he seemed, at ease with his game, mental and physical. Felt so good about his ball layout, about his equipment, the best he's ever felt in his career. And it certainly paid off today with a win over the king, Walter Ray Williams Jr. He takes it Congrats also to Shannon Pluhowsky, who won the women's series event today here in Buffalo. Be sure to join us next Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN. We'll be just outside Chicago again in Indiana. It's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now for the entire crew and Randy Peterson, it's Dave Ryan saying so long, reminding us State Farm tip-off women's basketball coming up next on ESPN.